All right, how's everybody doing this Wednesday afternoon? This is the Osmo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. We have a 6-game slate to discuss for tonight. A little bit of a later lock. You'll have an extra half hour. So if you're playing NBA, that's probably good news. Maybe you won't have to deal with those NBA late breaking news right at 7 Eastern. So no excuse not to be playing some NHL tonight. We've got some
Don't
free
forget
stuff.
Super Draft NBA locks a half hour after too. So you
They're
can get
doing
those.
that. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that? They are.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I haven't looked at it too much, but yeah, they basically pushed their lock a half hour. So we're going to be doing extra NBA shows
That's cool.
to make sure that you guys are prepped. If you want to play on Super Draft, competition's soft. We got projections, so no reason not to play over there.
Yeah. I was talking about the projections a couple days ago. I think maybe it was on a solo show, but yeah. So I got to get over there and check out their contest for NHL and everything. This show is sponsored by Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Another great place to play. Lower management fees. You're gonna get. You're gonna get less pros. You'll find the occasional Brick 75 and guys like that over there. Our friend Brick. But they've got nice golf contests. NHL. They've been taking some chances, making some bigger contests over there. So go over and support. And when you do, use promo code OSMO to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points, which is essentially cash when you're playing over DFS over on Yahoo. How did last night go for you, man?
Just did the usual 3-2-1 stack. Had like I think a top 10 or something like that, but just couldn't close the deal. What about you?
Yeah, always difficult on those short slates. Like, it's hard on any slate, right? You got to put yourself
Yeah,
in good positions to succeed over time,
yeah.
and especially on a two-gamer, like the ownership's so concentrated, like every single
Tough to
shot on
create
goal.
uniques.
What's that?
Tough to create uniques. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just that really condensed. Yeah.
yeah. So usually, last night did not go well. It looked okay there for a while after the end of the first game, but 5 goals in the first period in the second game buried me pretty quick. So I was honestly lucky to get back what I did. I got back a little under half. So I felt like that was a win based on what my current winnings were, after that first period. But
We
anyways,
we have some breaking news here, Jake.
yeah, let's hear it.
The name of the new Seattle NHL franchise. What
What
do you
is
think
it?
it's going to be?
What
The Seattle Kraken.
the what?
Seattle Kraken.
What is that?
Like release the Kraken.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Just breaking news all over the place.
Kind of
Um,
like it.
yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think on that one. Not that it matters at all, but yeah, that'll be interesting. So that's getting introduced after next season, right? Or is it
Yes,
is it next
that's
season?
correct. I
Okay,
think
it's
it's
after next
after
season.
next season.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then we'll have 32. Nice. That'll be people are not liking the name in chat. I get
Oh
it.
man, it's such an awesome name. Got
Yeah, I
some
mean it's
rum
fine.
sponsorships. You got Clash of the Titans clips to play during the game.
I'm sure they'll come up with something creative to do with that name. Um, Anyways, we talked about Yahoo. We do have a Twitter giveaway going on right now for NHL because we do have a pretty nice slate. It's the same thing as you guys are used to. Guess the player that's going to score the most fantasy points on tonight's slate. I saw a bunch of you guys guessing goalies. That's Votz's favorite thing to do. That's how Votz would play this, and so he's been right a lot of these contests. It's been a goalie
Smart.
putting up like 35 points, especially on a decent sized slate like this. So that would be my advice. Maybe if you can pick a guy that's going to score a hat trick, you see some McDavid picks, Matthews, Ovechkin, then you might also be in a good position. But I would try to not be duped, just like in DFS, and play this more like a tournament. So I will post this link right in chat. And if you haven't filled this out, there's literally no reason not to. You can win a $289 value, a free Osmo Plus NHL yearly pass, so you have us for the rest of the season. And it is very nice being a premium subscriber. I think for a lot of people, Slack chat is very helpful for NHL. Again, not a huge sport, but a lot of people helping each other out with news and strategy and everything like that. We do have projections free for today. This is Alex and my model that we came up with together. So these will be free, updated. Actually, okay, 6 minutes ago. No, it was probably about a half an hour ago. I would say 44 minutes ago. So I'll update after the show if there is anything. There probably will be some stuff. I think I still have Doughty in there, and it looks like he's doubtful. And there will be some other guys because we've got kind of a weird slate with 4 games starting at 10 Eastern or later. So this is one that plays to you, Nolan, being over on the West Coast. So it'll be good for you. I will probably be asleep depending on how my lineups are once these late games fire off. But let's take a quick look at last night. Did you mention you had a top 10 in was it at the $4?
I don't know. I didn't even look at the end. I was like top 10 before the end of the game,
All right,
something like that. $4, yeah.
You got 10th exactly. There we go.
There you go.
Let's look at yours. So you had the 20 max. You maxed out that $4. Eichel, Peugeot, Kachuk. The Connor Brown news being up on the top line, again, didn't work out if you swapped. I kind of understood if you didn't, like if you saw that news and didn't want to swap. You didn't have Brown or Duclair in this lineup. I'm guessing you just left it anyways. But you had Gaudreau, Kachuk, Monahan, and Brody for Calgary 4-man, and then a 4-man for Ottawa with an Eichel one-off. So pretty good lineup. I mean, if Brody does some damage there, even get to, like if you donk a goal there or get an assist, you might be in an even better spot. So pretty good lineup. 3-2-1 that ended up being really a 4-4-1 with the defenseman and the goalie.
True.
Good stuff there, man. Let's go to the winner of the 5K to first. Pugsley, 55. Single bullet on a 2-game slate.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty difficult to do. Let's see what this user had. Peugeot, Ennis, Borowicki, empty net shorthanded goal from your 4K defenseman at 0.7%. Projected ownership, he had 2.5 actual. He was actually owned at 2.5% in this tournament. Don't often see that. Unassisted, shorthanded, empty net goal. That was a huge swing. O'Reilly Schwartz, so I guess a power play duo there for this user, but more of a cash build. We see this winning quite a bit on these 2-gamers when people just hit the absolute nuts. But very little correlation outside of Gaudreau, Monahan, and Mark Giordano. No player against his goalie, so no Eichel, no Sam Reinhart in this lineup either. So interesting stuff there. I will show what I did. It was not very impressive. Looks like a pretty bad night for most of the people that max this. Besides Testosterone, Testosterone profited $641 in this tournament.
Is he still doing his like endless 3-3 stacks, or has he adapted?
I didn't look at him specifically on lineup study, but yeah, clicking on a few of these, yeah, they're all 3-3 even strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were only 54 combos, double stacks last night, anyways, with the 2-3 winger lines, I think so.
There's just so many dupes here by Testosterone, though. Like, even when you dupe twice in a tournament that only pays 5K to first, like that, I feel like that's just hurting your EV quite a bit. So it worked out last night, but like a couple of his lineups had 7 and 10 dupes in a tournament like this. Like, that's just a lineup I probably wouldn't want to play.
Not great. He needs an Awesemo subscription. Come hit us up for advice.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he's looking for our advice. I can't even find myself on here. I got one that snuck in 12th. Okay, so I had one decent lineup. Got back. Actually, most of my entry fees in this tournament, the other stuff I entered was really bad. But yeah, got back about 80%. 85% or so in this tournament, so I will take that because it looked real bad there for a while. Let's talk about tonight's games. We'll start with Nashville and Washington. 2.9 implied total for the Preds, 3.6 for the Caps. UC Saros and Braden Holtby are your goalies. Looks like some new Nashville lines, and then a player of note returning for the Caps tonight.
Yeah, so Nashville, I just clicked on the wrong tab here. Nashville is lining up with Kyle Turris getting promoted back to the second line. Arvidsson Forsberg. Johansson between Granlund and Duchesne, and then of course the usual Nashville three, which is pretty much like the greatest line in hockey this year. Bonino, Grimaldi, and Craig Smith, as well. Kelly Yarncroc on the fourth line is a game time decision. He's also on the power play one, so I would say that if he doesn't go, there's a chance that we could see a full power play one correlation with Granlund there, or the most likely scenario would probably be Forsberg, but those two are in play. But one of the rare times we may actually see some line one power play correlation from the Nashville Predators. And then on the Washington Capitals side, of course, Ovi comes back after serving his All-Star game suspension. Richard Panik moves down to the third line with Eller and Hagelin, and Boyd sits for the Caps.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of these lines here. I know we don't like Ryan Johansson, and you get $2,500 Kyle Turris, but man, feel like it's just the worst. At least I don't have to click on Kyle Turris's name and put him into my lineup. Like if I'm going to play some Nashville 2 with FC, you just crunch in and you just take some of the ownership off of yourself if these lineups do bad, and Turris gets you the 0. But it does look like it's probably going to be, to me it appears it's going to be a pretty good spot, because we're probably going to see a lot of Backstrom, Ovi, Wilson against Johansson and Duchesne and Granlund, I would assume. But then on the second line, quote unquote, you have Forsberg and Arvidsson together. So it's not like a lock as far as who they're going to match or anything, or if they're going to match. Maybe they just more so roll lines. But I want whoever's going up against this Kuznetsov, Verana, and Oshie line. I'm sure you've seen their numbers. They're just really poor. I feel like we mentioned
they're both bad. Like Washington 1 and 2 aren't far apart in terms of terrible defensive numbers.
Washington 1 isn't. They're not that bad. I think, let's see.
28 scoring chances against versus 29 scoring chances against.
The expected goals, though. Look, where's that at?
Expected goals against.
Yeah, expected goals against. That's
2.69 for Washington 2 and 2.62 for Washington 1.
Yeah, Washington 2's come down quite a bit. I guess it's their shot generation that I hate. It's more so like playing Nashville or Washington 2.
Yeah.
Under 2 expected goals for per 60. We're in almost a 300-minute sample at this point in the season. 22, almost 23 scoring chances for. I mean, just pretty bad. They're not good defensively. Neither is Caps 1. So, like, you see this low total for the Predators. I want to attack it some way. Right now, I'm more so splitting my exposure with these top 2 Nashville lines, but I'm kind of leaning towards the second line and just hoping Turris can get me an assist or two if Forsberg and Arvidsson are the guys that end up doing the damage. And it's also ridiculous that Forsberg isn't on the top power play for Nashville. So hoping Yarncroc is out. And then I don't know, because they got Granlund for the power play last year. And maybe Forsberg's still not on the top unit, even if Yarncroc's out. So bad job by Nashville, it seems like. But either way, I'm mostly targeting Nashville 2, it looks like, on that side. And then on the Cap side, it's a lot of Washington 1. And then I'm going to try to limit myself again on Washington 2, because I think they're going to come up in projections. But they've just been so poor at 5-on-5 that I can't really justify playing a lot of them if they're going to be popular.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like both. I don't know. I like Nashville a little bit more than I would normally. Pretty soft matchup, as we talked about. What's the ownership here looking like? It's not terrible for Washington, but I think there are just spots I'd rather go elsewhere. And I'm not going to be like overweight on these numbers, looking like 15% or so for these lines.
Well, I think 15, so. I think there should be a big gap between Washington 1 and Washington 2, and we're not projecting it to be that way right now. Because of the price of Washington 2, like that's going to draw some people in, but I'm going to go elsewhere for the most part in terms of like mid-range lines than Washington 2. I just
have so much bias towards Washington 2. I love them so much.
What do you love about? I mean, I like the players, but just the combination has been bad.
They just always seem to, like, it's probably just bias. I've gotten them right every single time this year. Like, I don't know. They just seem to win me money. So it's probably just personal bias. I don't know.
No, it's probably personal bias for me too, just because like I see these poor numbers. That doesn't mean they can't have like good performances.
Yeah, not great scoring chances for or expected goals for, I guess. But 3 talented players, and they usually come in at like the price of a second line, I guess, and like they're a second line, but like I don't know. Just seems like,
I just feel like I want either Washington 1 or Washington power play 1 for the most part if I attack it this way. So like I'll still have some not Kuznetsov. He's not on the top power play, so this is incorrect.
yeah,
Verana is on the top unit as far as I saw, and then Oshie. So I'll mix those guys in instead of like a Tom Wilson or something like that. So that's how I
yeah,
like getting pieces of the second line and just kind of going
yeah.
Washington
Throwing
onslaught.
Kuznetsov in there for sure.
Carlson 6,900 against Yossi 7,500. Two of my favorite defensemen, two of maybe my highest exposed guys for this season overall. Where are you leaning between those two guys? Do you have a preference? You can have a lot of both.
I don't know. I guess we're starting like Carlson's really just kind of kept going, and I guess like he's going to be a little bit cheaper. I do like to get exposure to the Nashville offense just by taking Yossi whenever I can. It just seems like such an easier way to do things, and so like I don't know. I'm just kind of going to I don't have a hot take. I'm just going to let the cruncher, let the optimizer do its thing. But I think like probably maybe 1-2 in terms of ownership tonight for the high price guys, and also like we don't have a lot separating them in our projections, right? So
No, they're always going to be pretty close. Yossi a little bit more expensive, so probably people won't play him as much, and that's what we're expecting. But I like them both. I'm probably going to have them both at over 20% if the slate started right now. That's exactly what I would have, and with a lean towards Carlson. But yeah, I mean, I like both of these guys. There's like the more shocking thing would be if I came on and said I don't like either of them, but that's almost never the
true.
case. Like,
and you are getting about half the ownership tonight for Yossi, just because of the price point. Yeah. So probably prefer him with that in mind. So
any other defensemen we needed to talk about, or are we on to the next game?
I don't know. I guess like Yannick Weber hasn't really done much beside Yossi. That's about it. I can't really see getting any of these.
You kind of mentioned them, but Nashville 3.
Are you playing them? I don't know. See, like I think you're probably going to see like how do you figure Washington stacks up here? Because I'm guessing it's just going to be like top 6 against top 6, which means they'll get the Eller line, which means they probably have the worst matchup. So I'm just gonna probably not get to too much, but
yeah,
tell me otherwise.
No, it's like it's just a whatever thing. Like if I can get some Nashville 3 in and get in an extra Washington 1 stack for doing game stack, or Toronto, Tampa, like that's why I'm playing them. It's not because I think it's like an elite spot or anything like that.
You should mention, I guess, Dante Fabro as well, getting 20 plus minutes a game in the absence of Ryan Ellis at the absolute bare minimum. He's one of the best punt value defensemen on the slate.
All right, let's go to the next game. Toronto and Dallas. We got a 2.9 implied total for the Leafs, 3.1 for the Stars. Freddie Anderson and Ben Bishop are your goalies. Any changes we see here?
Yeah, so Rupe Hintz is out for Dallas. It looks like Dickinson will center Pavelski and Gurionov. And then Cogliano is also a game time decision. He's on the third line with Fax and Como. For the Toronto side of things, I think everything is the same here. Didn't really notice anything different. And then like last game as well, I think it's 2 games in a row now that Dallas has shuffled that top line. They started out together, and then Seguin was taking it off it for brief stretches, or for long stretches, I should say, last game. Ben and Radulov were kept together. So I don't know what to do here. It's coming up as one of our top lines and predictions, but at the same time, I'm a little bit scared off by it. So, what are you doing with it?
I'm not sure. Like, I usually after the show, I get a little bit of a better idea, but I think I have a pretty good idea of what I'm gonna do for them. Like, I got a lot of them in my crunches, but I think we talk about like the line changes and like knowing exactly who is on a line can be a big edge if people don't. But like people don't pay attention to like guys that are live to get split up more than others too. And so there's teams like Dallas, and Edmonton has been like that in the past. And Ottawa.
I think if you're probably pretty plus EV if you haven't been stacking Dallas this year. Not due to performance, but just due to like lack of correlation.
Right, exactly. So, but then I think about it like, okay, I'm trying to mix in some power play stacks and stuff like that. Well, who are the guys you want to play on the top power play? It's Seguin, Ben, and Radulov. So I'm a little bit torn on what to do.
That's a good point. Yeah, and so, like even if they get broken up, we could still see a scenario where the Dallas power play goes ham. So that
Right.
kind of mitigates the fear of playing those guys if they're going to get split up.
Yeah.
As
So
well, like Rupe Hintz being taken off, as that might affect things, like or not playing tonight. Like there's a chance that maybe they're more like I would say they're probably more likely to stick together, but
I mean, yeah, that could be. And I don't know. They're probably not going to get a great matchup either at 5-on-5, even if they do stick together. Both the Matthews line and the Tavares line have been very good offensively, not terrible defensively.
is that like without? I guess like now we got Muzzin back, but is that without Morgan Riley as well? Like I feel like it's tough to quantify those numbers when they're missing so many defensemen, but
Who the
the Leafs. But I guess
just the Leafs
now
numbers,
it's just Riley, right?
right? So yeah, Muzzin's been back for a couple games. Yeah, that's probably a good point. Take that with a grain of salt. But they're at almost they're over 90 minutes. They're at just 2.1 expected goals against. Talking about Toronto too, 3.3 expected goals for 60 per 60, and then Toronto 1 just has Matthews. Like it's just not going to be an easy matchup when Matthews is on the ice with Marner and Hyman together. So I'm a little bit worried about the 5-on-5 spot for Dallas, and then they might get split up. It's almost a lock that I'm going to be underweight on what we have for their projected ownership, because first look, 3.1 implied total, Dallas 1 looks underpriced. You got full power play correlation. That's going to be appealing to a lot of people, but I think I'm going to end up backing off of that a little bit, and then probably backing off Klingberg and these Dallas defensemen. I might play some Heiskanen, more one-off types, but yeah, I'm kind of low on Klingberg. I think I listed him in the cheat sheets, but after looking at him for a little bit later this afternoon and him being on third pairing and his minutes have been dropping some, he just hasn't been doing much. So I hate playing guys like that consistently. 4,300, I think he's just going to be tossed into a lot of Dallas 1 stacks, and I'll just bet against that tonight, I guess.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
What about the Leafs side, though? You've got some pretty expensive Leafs per usual. Matthews, Marner, Tavares, all 7,500 or more, $8,200 in Matthews' case. Dallas does take a lot of penalties. They're top 8 in time shorthanded this season. They do have a pretty good kill, but I think the way I want to attack, if I'm playing Toronto here, the few lineups that I do, in general, I don't like to attack the Stars that much. But I think if I'm playing Toronto, it's probably some sort of power play stack with Tavares, Nylander, Matthews, Marner, some combo of those guys, maybe 2 or 3 of those guys, plus Tyson Barrie, and just hope they get hot on the power play, and Dallas is taking a lot of penalties. But I don't feel great about really anything at 5-on-5 in this game.
Yeah, it's kind of like I guess the ownership's right there with you. I think probably the best way to maybe attack it would be like Toronto 2 at pretty low ownership here, but I mean Toronto 1's probably better play, and so yeah, don't love it. Probably I'm going to come in a little underweight, but
right. So where do we have Toronto 2 for ownership?
5% for Tavares.
That's pretty good. I thought it was higher than that. I thought it was more in double digits, but
3%.
I mean, you're getting a line that's been really good. 3.3 expected goals for per 60, as I mentioned before. That probably won't get the toughest competition. That's going to go to Matthews. Matthews will probably get some of the Faxa line, who's been solid. And then some against the Sagan line. So, not the toughest spot for Toronto too. Maybe you could make a case to play some of them as a full stack with Kerfoot, just cheap there. But yeah, it's just price point and lack of good 5-on-5 spot it just got me lukewarm on Toronto as a whole here.
Rightly so, I think.
Yeah, I think we're good there. I don't know. Do we mention everything we needed to mention in that game?
Tyson Barrie, Rasmus Sandin.
I'm not super interested. I'm not super interested in Barrie outside of stacking him with Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander type of thing.
And you're no go on John Klingberg.
On who? Klingberg?
John Klingberg.
I mean, I can't guarantee I'm not going to have any of him, but like he's just getting boosted by what he did earlier in the season when he was better. He still was. He hasn't been great all season.
He's been terrible. I think, as he pointed out in chat, he hasn't had more than 12 DK points since December 1st. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's
So
nuts.
he just hasn't done anything. Like that's an arbitrary stat, right? I obviously looked to see how many
Yeah,
games, but
but
like
still 2 months without
he's had only a couple
much production.
games. Yeah, he's had only a couple games where he's been over like 15 DK points, and it's like, man, are we really gonna play this guy as one of the most popular defensemen? I get that he's cheap, but like minutes, randomly declining. He hasn't been good. I think it's probably about time I start getting off of this guy. I don't think I've been on him this season per se, but here where he projects pretty well, he's going to project well at a lot of places. The ownership projection's high. Maybe the time 15%, to back off.
Yeah, it's not. That's a pretty good reason to get off him right there.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next game. Flames, Oilers, 2.9 implied total for the Flames, 3.1 for the Oilers. Flames played last night. David Rittich will start. Talbot started yesterday. Mike Smith is confirmed for the Oilers. Do we see any changes here?
Yeah, I guess I don't think the Flames skated this morning, but I'm guessing Buddy Robinson finished on that Gaudreau-Monahan line last night. I wasn't sure about that, but it looks like he's up there today. I think they saw Gaudreau missed a breakaway or something like that, and I don't know. There's some talk. Looks like Lucic down with. Is this right? Backlund and Bennett, and then Reeder is in for Dubé. I think that's correct.
That's what we're seeing on the screen, so that's likely correct.
And then I think on the Edmonton side of things, of course, Zach Kassian back after serving his suspension, and he is back on line with David Neal. The Yamamoto Draisaitl line's been getting a lot of ice time lately. I don't know what their numbers look like, but everything else is pretty much the same for Edmonton.
Which side do you like here, or is this a game you're kind of avoiding?
I don't have a feel for this one at all. I'm kind of more avoiding it than anything, but it sounds like you're high on McDavid.
Yeah, I'm randomly wearing my McDavid jersey. I don't know if you saw that, and that's why you're asking if I'm McDavid. But yeah, I am. I like the McDavid Neal. I mean, I don't love Zach Kassian, but he's at the price where you would want to play him if you're going to play him, right? $4,200. He's skating with McDavid. Even when they switch lines up, like they tend to do mid-game, he's usually the guy that sticks with McDavid for whatever reason. And then you get Neal on the top power play, or you can power play stack the Oilers. Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins and Yamamoto. Like, I was pretty skeptical of, having Draisaitl not on McDavid's line just because it hasn't really worked out since Draisaitl's been in the league. But they've been okay together at 5-on-5. You get two guys in the top power play. And I just really like the power play stack here for the Oilers back-to-back. Maybe Calgary is tired, but then on the other side, it's like, well, maybe Edmonton's rusty, right?
I tend to go the other way. Like I haven't had a chance to do a deep dive, but post All-Star break after 10 games, I tend to favor the team on back-to-backs than the team just
because they got a game under their belt.
Exactly. Like you got to have some rust after 7 to 10 days off.
Yeah,
right?
But then you come back and it's like, now you got to play a back-to-back after not playing for 10 days. I don't know. It could go either way. It's a narrative thing. But
it's narrative, but there might be some sample.
Yeah, there's probably some data behind it, so it would be interesting to see that all laid out. So for Calgary's side, you do have three wings on the second line. That kind of makes me more want to stack either the power play or more likely Lindholm, Tkachuk, and Mangiapane. I just prefer that line. Didn't work out for me that well yesterday. But yeah, you're getting. Wait, is this correct? Monahan is a wing on DK? When did they make this?
Yeah, I think it was last night too.
Oh, I was running 3-2-1, so it didn't really matter. But like trying to run 3-3s tonight, that's going to be a potential issue. So I mean, anyways, I lean towards Lindholm, Tkachuk, and Mangiapane. I kind of trashed Monahan and Gaudreau yesterday a little bit. They've just been really poor as a duo at 5-on-5 this season. And so one game where they got a couple to go in doesn't really change my opinion all that much.
Yeah, I agree.
2.9 total here. Like, I'm not crazy about Calgary. I really, really, really prefer the Edmonton side because there's just so many different ways you can stack them. If you're willing to do power play stacks, you're going to get the third wheels on these lines pretty low owned in Kassian and Yamamoto as well. So I kind of like everything top six for the Oilers here. and I've been low on them. It feels like recently, but this is a spot where I like to fire them up quite a bit.
I'm going to be underweight. I might have no Oilers tonight.
Really? Is that a feel thing, or what are you seeing there?
It's just a feel thing. I don't know. I'm not getting to a lot in projections
Okay.
either, or in crunches. I mean, like I think in 50 lineups, I got 0 McDavid.
You got 0?
Yeah.
Interesting. You got to up those uniques or get some randomness.
4 uniques, double stacks.
Maybe you need more randomness because
I don't like my randomness.
you don't like.
I don't know.
Well, that's a conversation for another day. You don't like randomness?
Yeah.
A little bit of randomness is all right. I don't use a ton of randomness. Probably a lot more people that use more randomness than me, including the namesake of the site himself. Will Cassian and Tkachuk get themselves into trouble though, or do you think that won't matter? Because Cassian got suspended because he basically attacked Matt Tkachuk. So are you worried about that at all?
George Peros is there to watch things, so I'm guessing like this is probably much ado about nothing. But
okay.
I mean, there's certainly like that chance that things could. I mean, Tkachuk's been taking some heat for turtling, so
yeah.
You
So
never know.
I don't know. My guess as well is 423 in the chat. My guess is that it's a non-issue or not big enough of an issue for me to worry about that with my DFS lineups, but something could happen. It's probably more likely to happen.
We need the draft street days where the PIMs counted for.
FanDuel had that too for a while.
Really? Oh man,
yeah,
it's so good because if you're paying attention and you knew that like 2 fighters hated each other, then you could really get an edge. But
Clefbaum, kind of in a pricing tier below Yossi and Carlson, but he's another he's the reason why I don't have a huge massive stand on Yossi or Carlson. I'm kind of close to where they are in terms of our projected ownership. I like Clefbaum a ton for 6,300. There's a lot of good top price defensemen if you include Burns and Carlson in that discussion as well. You've got 4, 5, 6 guys maybe to choose from in this 6K plus tier or 5K plus tier, I guess, that look really good. And Clefbaum is definitely one of those guys for me. So I mean, I'm stacking up Edmonton power play 1 quite a bit. I like to include the power play quarterback if possible, and I'm finding it not too difficult to do that with the good pricing that we're seeing on Edmonton's side.
For sure. What about your boy Giordano?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's coming on a little bit, right? Didn't he have a multi-point game yesterday, I want to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 2 assists yesterday. He played 26 minutes. That's the most minutes he's played since, he hasn't played 26 minutes since over a month. So
he's getting old.
Yeah, I mean, maybe people believe in that, but I'm just not a huge believer in Calgary tonight. So Gio's kind of getting squeezed out of that top tier for me, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, who knows. Hanifin and Hamonic are 2 guys that I'll play a little bit of at their respective prices, 3,300 and 3,600, and that's really all I got for this game. Any Lucic, Backlund, Bennett, that fire line? What do you think?
No,
you're the king of the third lines, so.
King of losing money on the third line.
No, that would be me.
No, I got none of that tonight.
Fair enough. Let's go.
It's not bad though. I read some underlying stats that Lucic actually hasn't been terrible this year. So, but I can't remember what that stat report was or who put it up. But he'd actually been better than James Neal at 5-on-5.
Oh man, probably a Flames writer, old school.
Probably that guy who just endlessly defends him. I can't remember what his name is.
It's probably that gentleman. Coyotes Ducks 2.8 implied total for Arizona, 2.6 for Anaheim. Antti Ranta and John Gibson are your goalies. Do we see anything different here? Always difficult for me to keep track of these lines on both of these teams. Nothing different?
These are 2 of the most confusing. I cannot keep them straight. If you ask me what their lines were, it looks like we have a little bit of consistency now with Garland, Dvorak, and Hall on the top line. Lawson Krause is up with Stepan and Kessel. Is that right? Or did Vots reported something? Something different.
Stepan,
right?
Krause, Kessel. Did Vots have something else? Yeah. I don't know. This is a reason to read the live blog we've got.
Let's go to the live blog right now and find out.
Yeah, give away some free stuff. I mean, this is stuff you got to dig for.
This could be the daily face-off edge here where they get it wrong.
Yeah, so Vots has, instead of Kraus, it is Keller, and
Keller,
then
Stepan, Kessel.
yeah, okay, so wow,
Yeah.
Hinostroza up on. Jeez,
Third
where
line.
did he find these? Okay, so
I
these are
think
way
he's
different. I trust
shared a
Vots.
podcast or something. So
Okay.
who knows? Like they could be. Maybe he's in chat right now and he can tell us. But who knows with Arizona? You probably will want to watch this one. But I think I like that Stepan Kessel Keller line a heck of a lot more with Keller on there instead of Kraus.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's a huge upgrade. Lawson
So
Krause compared to Keller. So
yeah,
yeah, that at least makes you okay playing a non-Arizona one line, right? Like if it's gonna go
exactly.
Stepan, Kessel, and Keller, at least you got a couple options to choose from. What are you seeing on the Anaheim side? Is it Getzlaf, Raquel, and Troy Terry, or I saw Nick
Yeah.
Ritchie up there earlier
Oh, I
today?
thought I saw Terry, but I
Did
can
Terry
double check
skate
that
there?
as
Maybe it was
well.
before skate.
Right. We'll just check their two beat writers that post things once every 2 days here.
Let's see.
Um, Iceman Cometh, Eric
Uh,
Stevens,
Eric Stevens.
and Elliot Tieford, I think, are the two
Yeah,
guys.
I don't see anything from Stevens right now.
God. So maybe check that one out beforehand. This line, that Troy Terry, or the Getzlaf, Ritchie, Raquel line, has been. It's only 40-minute sample size, but they're last on the entire slate in terms of expected goals against. So kind of like I'm guessing they would go up against Arizona one, or maybe like no hard matching. So wouldn't kind of am upgrading maybe a little bit the Arizona one and two in this situation, especially with the wrong lines on daily faceoff, if that's correct.
Yeah, I think in general we're going to see Getzlaf getting the most time against the Hall line, right? So whoever he's with, and especially Getzlaf, Raquel. Yeah, I saw those numbers with Richie together. With Terry, just Getzlaf and Raquel have been really active this season. Like I think they're at 3 expected goals for per 60. If you just look at those two on natural stat tricks, so they've been really good. I'm pretty interested in the Getzlaf line here. I like the ownership that we're seeing on them. Maybe a possible pivot to Washington 2 at like half of the ownership. So I kind of like them just because I think they're under-owned compared. Like, Getzlaf and Raquel have been good. I keep talking about how bad Washington 2 has been at 5-on-5. So it'd be kind of dumb of me not to have more of this Getzlaf line compared to a Washington 2, which is even more expensive and more owned. So I like the Ducks. I mean, I hate the total. I always hate totals in the Ducks games and the Arizona games. And it's probably not a great matchup, but for these prices at this ownership, I can definitely get behind some Anaheim 1. Anything else in this game you're looking at? Well, I guess anything on the Duck side, because we've got to talk about Dvorak, Hall, and Garland, of course.
Yeah, they've been good. Or maybe I haven't looked at their stats actually since the beginning of the All-Star break, but they had some pretty good numbers I remember coming in, right?
Yeah, I think I've got them. Let me see. I've got them up here. They're at
So no,
3
the report. Sorry, just found out. Like I don't see any of these lines. I think it's a guess from Daily Faceoff.
Okay.
Silverberg is back in per the Anaheim Ducks Twitter account, and I'm guessing that neither beat writer reported it. So
Yeah. I'm guessing these are pretty close. Like, I think Getzlaf and Raquel stick. I think Henrique and Silverberg stick. I think Steele, Kasha, and Max Jones probably sticks as well. And then it's going to be a question of who's on the top line, who's on the second line between Richie and Troy Terry. So kind of a big deal because Richie is 4,300 and Terry's 2,800. Like, that could change quite a bit in your line of construction. So what I might do is just put Nick Ritchie up on this top line and then swap down if I have to Terry. If I'm going to have a bunch of Ducks 1, then I might as well leave myself open to possibilities. And you're going to have, 2/3 of the slate to swap to? Like, you're going to have 2/3 of the options still because of the nature of the slate with 4 late games. So I'll just swap down on that $1,500 if it does actually, or swap up if Terry's actually on that line.
yeah,
Arizona 1?
yeah, I'm in Arizona 1 and 2. I'm gonna have some for sure.
Yeah, Arizona 1, wherever Hall goes, it seems like he just turns the line to gold. Dvorak, Garland, and Hall together, they're at almost 35 scoring chances, 4 per 60, almost 15 high danger chances, and then 3.3 expected goals for per 60. That's in 120 minutes so far. So those are just really good numbers across the board. I like Getzlaf and Raquel, but I think they're going to give it up as well to a line that's this good. Full power play correlation. Even with the 2.8 implied total, I'm definitely in on some Arizona 1. Where do we have them for ownership? I guess I didn't really notice them when I was looking through. They're pretty low.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So there we go. I'm stacking up the 5.4 implied total game, and I'm sure there's going to be some 6.5 total games that I say I don't really like. So that's
fair.
That's usually how it happens.
Yeah, Arizona 1 and 2 get nothing. I guess it's always the Gibson factor, right? And then probably Anaheim getting nothing, I'm guessing.
Any defenseman you like in this game? Chikrin, Ekman-Larsson, Goligoski, Fowler, Lindholm. Those are the guys in the power play.
Yeah. Not really. No.
No.
A little bit too expensive.
Me either. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Chikrin, I guess, would be more of a one-off guy. Ekman-Larsson would be the guy, I guess, if you're stacking up. If you're four-man stacking, Arizona with Arizona 1, and you just want to add on a defenseman for 4,400, you're more looking for assists with Ekman-Larsson. He's kind of like the Klingberg thing. Not great peripherals or anything like that. A lot of minutes, but doesn't really do a ton with them, it seems like. Let's go to and Kasha. If you're one-offing, 3,600 for Kasha against this depth of Arizona seems like a pretty nice.
Has he done anything this year yet?
Yeah, he's been better lately. He's been better lately. He started off really poorly though. He wasn't scoring points at all.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. It looks like his shot totals are up in January, which is nice. So I've just been waiting. I've been not playing him at all, even though he projects really well. And now it might be time to get back on that train for sure.
Yep, I agree. Let's go to Tampa and the Los Angeles Kings. 3.5 implied total for the Lightning, 2.5 for the Kings. Andrei Vasilevsky expected to go against Jonathan Quick. The Boom Bowl right here. What do we see for changes?
Oh, wow. I like it. Oh, man. So Drew Doughty looks like he's doubtful. I would guess that's got to be pretty close to 100%. If you don't practice after 10 days off, you're probably not playing. Second missed practice in a row. Dustin Brown back up with Yafalo and Kopitar. And Toffoli down with Carter and Prokhorkin. Daily Faceoff has Sean Walker listed on the top power play unit. I'm guessing it's either him or Alec Martinez. I'd probably be more comfortable just going with Alec Martinez because he's likely to get the biggest minutes upgrade on that top pairing. And then Tampa looks pretty much the same, but sign me up for all the Tampa tonight. I hope you can talk me off them.
No, I'm not going to talk you. I'm not going to talk you off. I'm not going to intentionally talk you off, but yes, the Doughty thing that he's doubtful officially. He's not playing. No. But I guess there is a slight chance he could play. So this would be a spot where Kopitar, Iafallo, and Brown get the most time, pretty hard match against Tampa 1. And that's not the end of the world, but it's also not great. 3.5 implied total here for Tampa is, now it's pretty tough to fade, especially being an MME player. But I'm getting very, very little of Tampa 1, and I don't know whether to trust the projections or, their upside is as high as anyone we've seen this year. They've had these huge upside games, even if they haven't been
fully stacked top line. The good thing is you're probably not going to be able to fit them with too many other lines. So
right,
there's not a lot of great third and fourth lines on this slate. So your options are going to be limited, I think, which means your exposure probably isn't going to be that high. But I don't know. I just love the spot. I think this is I think if they were at home, that they would probably be getting twice the ownership, if not more, and they're getting 10%. And then Doughty going out just affects things a little bit more, I think. So, and then the second line as well, I like a lot. It looks like they have some pretty solid numbers together so far, and they're probably not going to get much ownership as well.
Yeah, when I look at Tampa, and I know it's a different price point, but Tampa compared to Dallas 1, I'd much rather just if I could move all my Dallas exposure over to Tampa, that's what I would like to do. But just pricing's the thing. I think Tampa is the clear better play, even if it costs you a couple thousand extra. So I'm gonna end up forcing some in. And that's probably what you're going to have to do if you use our projections. Because from a median projection standpoint, they project out okay, but there's other lines that are going to be better values. And when you're using an optimizer, it's just going to try to jam in as much value as possible. So that's a problem, right? Because value we talk about and Alex talks about all the time is a little bit overrated in like MLB and NHL DFS. So from an upside perspective, I don't know that there's anyone that can stand with them on tonight's slate. Maybe Washington won Ovi. I guess you can make that. You can make that comparison, but they're
Dallas,
right up there.
There's sorry, what are your favorite stacks to put in with this line if you're stuffing it in?
So yeah, that's the problem. I'm gonna look and see if I got to them.
I like
my crunch.
Dallas 2. I think is really cheap, and I'm kind of interested in that. Obviously, Nashville 3 we talked about a little bit, and then you can fit in pretty easily. You can fit in Arizona 2. I mean, you can fit in a lot. It's just like whether or not you want to punt the fence, right?
So. Right. So if you do play Tampa 1, especially if you play Hedman, you are pretty much punting the rest of your lineup, forwards and your last defenseman, and maybe even your goalie as well. So you have to be 100% right on Tampa. Like if you go 40% Tampa and they don't, if they score 1 goal, like you're probably just not cashing any of those lineups, because while they do have the highest upside, like they could easily get outscored by a line that's cheaper and chalkier than them, like Dallas 1 or something like that. So, like it's a higher risk play for sure, but I think it's one that in my 150, like I want to have more Tampa 1 than Dallas 1, and I'll be different just for that reason. But to go back to your question, you mentioned Nashville 3. Kasha's pulling up the Anaheim 3 exposure for me a little bit just because he projects well. Other than that, though, like it's kind of gross.
Anaheim 1 and 3 are the top 2 projected 3 stacks for us.
Okay.
So.
Think about, man, like you could probably, I don't even know who else you could jam in if you wanted to game stack maybe.
I like the double stack too. I like a little Josh stack
with
Tampa
the Lightning.
1, 2.
Yeah. I don't know that I love the Josh stack necessarily. For me, it's more of a mental thing. Like I just want it at home where it's like just the ultimate nut spot and no one's gonna play the lines together. But like, I mean, 3.5 total. This is about as good as it gets against the Kings. Bad power play. You could see a scenario which they score 5, 6, 7 goals here if things get out of hand, and both lines do damage. So it would take a really weird slate for that to be the case, but one lineup out of your lineups, that's not a terrible idea. I actually do like Tampa 2 as well. Just really, really, really good numbers. They didn't have a great game in their last time out, but I think they're going to have the advantage at 5-on-5, whoever they go up against, and you're getting some really low ownership on them as well. Hedman, 6,100. Are we buying into this Walker thing, and then do you like anything on the Kings side at all?
I don't know. I've just like kind of been following what other people have said about Hedman and like not playing him much, and like it seems like a lot of the Sharps are just not playing him. He gets minutes obviously, but he just doesn't really do much. So been more often than not just leaving him out of my Tampa stacks, but I can certainly see like why it would be viable to put him in there. And then like I don't know, I like Alec Martinez at 3,400 on DK, but I think Walker's fine.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Walker and Martinez are the guys that get bumps for me that are probably going to be on the power play. Not necessarily sure who's going to be on which power play. It doesn't really matter that much tonight. But good prices for both. Going to get a minutes boost. I mean, Doughty's 24, 25 minutes has to go somewhere. And it's probably not going to Curtis McDermott or Matt Roy and guys like that. So those guys definitely get a boost. There was something.
You need a super low-owned defenseman that will also get a bit of a bump. Joakim Ryan is listed as on the DL, but is expected to return and is on the top pairing according to Daily Faceoff.
Yeah, okay, that's not a bad play either. Kings lines for MME, like I'm gonna mix in some of both of these top 2 lines. I don't feel good about either one of them. If I could only have one, it would probably be the Kopitar line, but you're going to get a really brutal matchup against the point line. They're going to be more focused on shutting them down, trying to hopefully slow the pace down and not commit penalties. But Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's the
gross on
other
the
thing
Kings
I
side.
think we didn't touch on as well, or why I like this matchup too, is you have the Kings have the second worst penalty killing unit in the NHL, and the Tampa Bay Lightning have the second best power play unit. So
Yeah, seems like a pretty good spot if there's 3, 4, 5 penalties, uh, power plays for Tampa to capitalize on. Like this is going to be a pretty brutal sweat if you don't have Tampa and they're getting these calls early in the game. So yeah, interesting game that will swing a lot for a lot of people, it appears. And then Hedman, just going back to him quick, what I'm probably going to do is just make a group, or maybe I won't even have to make a group because he projects so much lower than these guys. But if I'm playing Hedman, it's probably going to be with a Tampa onslaught.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
And that's really about it. I just like I think all these guys are better than him. Carlson, Yossi, Clefbaum, and then you could argue Burns and Carlson as well. So not a ton of interest in Hedman as a one-off, but if you're onslaughting Tampa, I understand why you'd want to pop him in there.
Yeah.
Let's go to the last game of the night, and then we'll get out of here. If you guys could drop us a like, that would be very much appreciated. Helps us keep the lights on, as Chris Bag says. Helps keep this content free, and I'm sure you guys would all prefer it being free. 3 implied total for the Canucks, 3 for the Sharks. Jacob Markstrom and Marty Jones are your goalies. Do we see anything new here?
I don't think so. Do you notice anything?
I did not. I noticed I was getting some Joe Thornton when I got to power play stacking, the power play stacking portion of my lineups, and so that needs to get nuked. I'm probably going to limit Thornton to like 2 or 3%, and only include him in power play stacks. So that was just a side note. That was the first guy I saw when I looked at this game. Just why am I playing Joe Thornton? And I'm not. Sharks, pretty chalky. Are they going to let us down again? I don't think it's that great of a spot for them, no matter which line they go up against.
Yeah.
Like they're not. I don't know. This Hurdle, Kane, and Timo Meyer line is pretty bad defensively. They're going to be good offensively. They're going to get the power play time, so they've got that going for them. But as maybe the chalkiest line on the slate for 2 nights in a row or 2 slates they've been on in a row, I'm probably going to end up underweight on them once again. I like spending up on one of my lines and punting tonight and trying to get in a top tier defenseman. And
Yeah.
I just think, once again, I talked about it last time with Cliffy, but when I'm running a bunch of San Jose lineups, like they're all my top lineups to get duped, judging by our ownership projections. It's like,
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And like especially tonight, like if you roster San Jose 1 and Dallas 1, you're drawing dead before the slate even starts, right? Like there's just combos here that are going to be so obvious and
Yeah.
so like duped on so many lineups. So think creatively if you're going to roster San Jose 1 for sure.
yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Once again, with these chalk lines, it's just, okay, if I'm playing them, figure out a way to get different with the rest of your lineup, whether it's play a stack that's going to be 3-5% owned, or play a defenseman that no one's going to have, so at least you're a 1v1 away, or play a combo of defensemen that no one's going to have, and just figure out a way to be unique, or at least giving yourself a chance of being unique. Because if you just fire up San Jose 1 here and just mix them with everyone, like you're going to get so many dupes because they're going to be popular again. They look underpriced. They probably are underpriced. While I say it's not a great spot, it's not a terrible one either. 3 implied total. Like everyone's going to understand that this is a play that people want to play. So I would just be really careful with what you're doing. Maybe mix in a power play stack with like LeBanc and Eric Carlson instead of Timo or something like that. Just some way to get a little bit weird if you're playing Sharks here. And then the second line for 5-on-5, like for full stacking Goudreau, Thornton, and LeBanc, not that interested in that. I would just be mixing in those power play guys with that top line to differentiate yourself. What about the Canucks side?
I kind of like the Pedersen line at like 3% ownership tonight.
I think they've just been way underowned. While this might not be a perfect spot for them, like San Jose has been a pretty decent defensive team, at least not one of the worst defensive teams.
It's Marty Jones time.
Yeah, you do have Marty Jones in net. He hasn't been his terrible self as much recently, but you've got a line that's generating a ton of chances at 5-on-5. Pedersen and JT Miller have been so good, regardless of who their other guy has been on that wing. Virtanen has stepped in there really nicely. We know about Brock Besser and how good that line was when it was together. So
Besser's in the doghouse now.
Is he in the doghouse? Is that true, or are they just trying these new combos?
I think he's in the doghouse.
Oh, that seems good. Did he just get signed?
Brock Besser?
Yeah. I was gonna say, because if he's not signed, and maybe you're hurting your chances of re-signing him. I can't remember.
He's an RFA though, so.
Oh, okay. So they got a year to figure that out then, right?
Oh, yeah. He re-signed in 2000. He re-signed way earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they kind of fell in love with him early.
Probably
Fair enough. What was I gonna say? You can power play stack the Canucks as well with Besser if you wanted to fit him in there instead of Virtanen. Quinn Hughes, kind of like the Klingberg mold guy. Almost 5K for him here and not a great power play spot. Seems like a little bit expensive. So I'm probably more so playing the even strength lines here, whether it's the Horvat line or the Pedersen line. But I like going at the Sharks chalk here with some Vancouver, and maybe as a real nice way to get weird in some of your lineups, maybe you play Vancouver, one of the stacks, some combination of forwards plus Markstrom, and try to get a little bit of extra leverage there and extra correlation in your lineup as the late night hammer.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, did you say Markstrom?
Yeah.
Yeah, like stacking Markstrom, I think with your Vancouver stacks is probably pretty smart. Or like putting like I'm going to be probably a little bit overweight on him just because you're getting like, the added bonus of going up against the most owned line of the night that probably shouldn't be most owned line, but.
I mean, I understand it, but it's just, man, is everyone going to be there? I saw that they were like, I think Hurdle and Kane were over 30% in the $33 on a 6-game slate 2 nights ago. Like,
crazy.
People, like, recency bias isn't that big of a deal recently in DFS. Like, people are more projections based. Whereas like 2 years ago, maybe you see them at like 10% ownership because people aren't like using projections. Like they're not trusting them as much. But like this day and age, I think a lot of people are. And so they're just going to refire up San Jose 1. And that's reflected in our ownership. So I'm just worried about how much I'm actually going to get to them right now. It would be closer to the 10% that I said. And that's going to put me at about half the field once again. 1% Hattie.
Makes sense to me.
1% Hattie. Or no, let's do 5% Hattie because it's
5%.
6 games late.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Have we hit one yet?
We have not hit one yet. Let's see.
Although it's only like Chiarelli. Who else has had a Hattie lately?
Yeah, Ovi has had enough for everyone recently.
Well, he's never going to be 5% on though.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, I'm going to give you throwing some options at you.
All right.
Tavares, Marner, Pedersen, Nylander, Matthew Tkachuk. Oh, he's 6%. Never mind.
I got
JT
one for
Miller.
you. Yeah,
Okay,
JT Miller. That's what That's what I wanted.
I like it. I will take the suspense. It's just building, everyone. It's just
no pressure. No pressure.
I'll take Brock Besser to get off the schneid tonight.
There you go. I hope that that's the case. Okay. Twitter giveaway is in the chat right now. Let's see. We only had 18 likes the last time I refreshed this. We've only got 22. So all you got to do is follow these directions, retweet, like, reply, follow these accounts. Guess the player that's going to score the most fantasy points on tonight's slate. Super easy. Just guess the points. Take someone a little bit off the board. Take a goalie that looks to be in a bad spot. It has worked out for us recently, taking some of these goalies. So get in Slack. Use promo code HitTheIce if you don't win this contest to get 50% off your first week of any Awesemo Plus weekly pass. Shout out to Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports for sponsoring the show. Go play on Yahoo. Go support them. They're supporting us. And use promo code Awesemo to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points over there. NHL projections, one more time, they are free today. If you want to check those out, I'll update anything that needs to be updated, get Dowdy out of there and everything else. And
also, Friday, we've got a big show coming up for the Super Bowl.
yeah, you want to pimp that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we have a start. It's going to be Friday morning, I think at I want to say 12 Eastern. It's going to be possibly 3 hours long. We're going to have a bunch of rotating guests, go over DFS, prop bets, main bets. Alex Osmo Baker will be on there. Sal Vetri, Spags, Josh Laffey, all of our favorite NFL guys are going to be breaking down the slate, both from a DFS perspective, from a football perspective, and from a gambling perspective. So it's going to be a really fun show. So make sure to check it out on this channel.
Yeah, I'll be tuning into that one for sure. Maybe trolling the chat a little bit.
Absolutely.
If you guys got any questions about lines or anything, go to the live blog. That's where you'll get your information, or premium Slack. Drop us a like if you do appreciate the content. And it will just be me tomorrow. I think we got another 2-gamer, I want to say.
Another dud, man. Is it just me, or has it this been the entire season?
It's the bye weeks. Yeah, it feels like the last month or so since Christmas. Before Christmas, it's been like this. So, yeah, that's all we got for today. I'll see you guys back tomorrow for the few of you that tune in for the big 2-gamer. Hopefully we'll talk about your guys' winnings from tonight.